and welcome to this week's vlog. Unusually for me, I'm starting this in the evening. I normally start a vlog in the morning with a shoot, but I'm here in Whitby with Gary Sugden and Steve and Martin and Colin, and we are shooting the Whitby Harbour. Got the lighthouse here, and this lighthouse, where are we? This lighthouse here, I've realised from shooting it in the past that actually it's not quite straight here, it kind of leans over. And we've got some nice light on the two little harbour lights here, the red and the green one. And I'm doing a long exposure because the sky looks pretty pants, well, there's nothing to it at all. So we've got a 15th of a second at f8.5 or f9, so which means that I can put a 10 stopper on, and that will give me a 1 minute exposure, which is what I'm doing. There's Martin, look at that. Martin's on his way over to the pier. You might be able to see Gary and Steve already crossing it. I find that particular shot really difficult because the pathway, or actually what's really nice about it is that the floor, the pier itself is lovely. It's made of some lovely wooden planks, weathered, and interesting ironwork that's kind of rusted, so that's all lovely, but it curves off to the left. And I really struggle with composition on it. I've never got any idea how to position it in the picture. So I thought I'd start with this one. So this is a long exposure, fine art kind of thing. I kind of don't like calling it really that much, but it's going to basically a 1 minute exposure. It's going to blur the water completely, and that will allow me to make it look a little bit otherworldly. So I'll do that. I'll walk onto the pier and see what we can get if there's anything I'm interested in. Probably not, because I think what I'm going to probably do is see you at Saltwick Bay. In the morning we're going to go to Saltwick. The tide looks good. What's great about Saltwick Bay are the rocks, the different colours, the interesting boulders, and I'm really looking forward to having a little shoot there. And then I may go and shoot a picture at Scarborough, because Gary has shown me a really nice S-bend harbour wall, which I quite fancy on the way back home. So I'm going back tomorrow, we're going to shoot in the morning, and then on the way back I'll stop over Scarborough, and then I'll be going back home. So out in the camper van, having a great time, and I'm having a great time with the guys at Thumbs Up Photography. If you haven't seen our Facebook page, go and check us out. I will see you in the morning. And good morning. We're here again, back at the Admiral von Tromp. It's just there, and the Black Nab. And I'm with Steve and Martin, and Colin and Gary. They're just there. I say this quite a lot, but you know this is one of my favourite shots. I really love this. And once more, because I've been here 4 times now, and I've yet to get a really good sky. The light is probably just going, and we're still half an hour before sunrise, but the pre-dawn glow anywhere along here at low tide is brilliant, because what it does is it bounces off this shale bed here, and the front or the bow of the wreck picks up the light and just looks gorgeous. It's why I love it as a shot. I would still really love, at some point in the future, to have some lovely clouds here lit up. It may well be that I have to come and visit this at sunset, but at the moment, the sun is rising way over there, which is nice because it's shining light on here, but there's no clouds in the sky at all to catch that light and bounce it back down. I've set a timer on my watch for 45 minutes because low tide is about another 5, and you've got an hour either side, and I don't want to be here with these guys here slipping and sliding, hurting themselves if the tide is coming in, because it comes in so quick. This is so shallow, you can see it's so narrow, and the tide rushes in here, it chases you up the beach, so we need to be off of here. So set a stopwatch is really important, and we've agreed that when I say go, we're going to go. Right, let's see if we can get some shots and I'll show you what I'm taking. Right, so compositionally for this, you can see here, I've got as close as I can without being in everybody else's picture. Might actually go a little bit closer, wide angle. Obviously, the closer you get into the wreck, the less depth or the less this gap is. You want a little bit of gap between those two things, I think. But if I go too close, this will be too large. And if I'm too far away, this will be too small. So it's playing with that bit. It's also playing with the bow facing up towards the black nab, and this bit faces away. And then also there's this little, I don't know what that is, big kind of circle round thing there, flywheel, which actually Steve said, I just want to separate that off, and I hadn't even given that a thought. So that, there's a little gap between the little flywheel there and the bottom of the bow. I don't like particularly that engine bit. Gary's, to be honest, done a lovely shot from here before, from that side, and the benefit of that is you look at to the sunrise. So I can see why, but for me, it's the front, it's the way the front of the boat catches the light. It's the side of the black nab as well, looks nice, so the light shining on it rather than shooting into the sun is what I quite enjoy about this shot. So here comes the image. I'll put it on the screen now, then we're going to walk back. So we've got, this is fairly exciting, a little sliver of cloud, look, which is quite amazing. And that just adds another little element to the scene. It just kind of tops off the composition, which I really quite like. It's a nice colour, it's a nice pink light underneath it. Nice pink light. Steve Staines wondering, but he has been very polite and asked, can he go forward? Is that all right? And obviously we've said no, you can't. But no, we have, of course, we've said yes. And it's always good to be polite and ask if you're shooting, because it can spoil somebody's day. But there we go, look at that. I quite like that. Let's put that image up for you now, see what you think. Before I go, just look at that rock. It looks like a brain, doesn't it? Interesting. It actually makes a nice shot like that as well, just because of the patterns on it, really. So I haven't shot that before, might give that a go. And again, it'll be the same thing about moving the camera around. If you can see, it's all about this gap here. Okay, you'll need to link the two objects together, and if you have them too far, if that gap is too big, then things are too far. They don't look connected, they look disjointed. Too close, so I can show you this, that falling over. Too close, and they kind of, one's competing against the other. You get it about right, which is about there. To me, that gap is nice. It just kind of feels like the eye flows through the picture and makes a better shot. So I think I'll finish the Admiral. Get out of the way of Martin, which is another problem with this location. There's not a lot of space really if you're all shooting, but we'll have a go with that as well. Right, let's finish up here then. I'll put the pictures up on the screen for you, and I'm going to then climb back up, and we're going to move to Scarborough. So I'm going to go back to the house where we're staying, grab my stuff, which I'm going to put in my camper, and then I'm heading back today. So on the way back, I'm going to stop at Scarborough because there's a couple of fine art long exposure pictures I want to have a look at and hopefully shoot. But I'll take you with me, I'll bring you with me, and we can have a look. And if I get the camera out, even better. So nice to be out today. It's been brilliant as ever. I love this location. It's one of my favourites. Absolutely freezing this morning as we walked down. Really icy, which I was worried obviously that I didn't fall over. Steve's got really dodgy knees and got a knee operation shortly, and he was behind me. I was conscious that I didn't want him to slip, so I was kind of almost scouting it out. Martin was in the front, but it was a really hazardous journey down. And when we got to the beach was frozen. because it rained overnight, so that rain had kind of frozen, iced up. But I love those conditions, actually. It makes it more of an adventure, which is quite cool. Right, here come the pictures. See you in Scarborough. Off we go. Well, that was fun. I always enjoy Saltwick Bay. Even if you can't get to the Admiral, the stones on the beach are amazing shapes and colours, and they remind me a little bit of Elgol up in Skye, which I want to go back to at some point as well. So I'm now on my way to Scarborough. Gary Sugden has kindly given me the name of the car park I need to park at. So we're going to park up, walk down and catch high tide, which is about 2 hours time. And I'm going to try and do this fine art picture that I'm looking to do of the S-Bends, which used to be an old bathing pool, apparently. So that's hopefully going to be great. Then I'll be returning home, but the wind's getting up. We had a little yellow weather warning. There's been a few high winds around here the last few days. So wrap up warm, walk down the hill, shoot the picture. Shouldn't take me longer than 20 minutes or so. I'm going to find the composition first. Then I'm going to set the Z8 up, and we'll use a neutral density filter to just slow the shutter speed down. And I'll talk to you more about that when I get there. Let's carry on down here. Oh, it's cold out here. So we're at Scarborough. There's a shot there, definitely, possibly with these railings in, a long exposure shot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk further up, so I can show you that behind me. There's the bends there. Everything in my body is telling me I need to be high for this, so I'm going to try and find a viewpoint. There's a couple of bits on this pathway which might work, but I'm going to go right to the other end, find a composition or two, and then get set up. I've got about an hour before high tide, so a little bit of time, but this looks good. In fact, this pier here looks good enough for one shot, definitely. I'm definitely quite pleased about, I'm excited about a long exposure, fine art shot of that. So definitely one to get. Let's go and see if I can find another one of the S-Bends, and then we'll come back if I need to. Right, let's go. So I think there's a shot from here as well. And there's another little curve here. I mean, it all curves round nicely. All the S's curve one way. That's probably the shot I'm going to get. We've got the beach huts or some sort of huts up the top here, and the rest of Scarborough. If we frame it kind of like that, and I've also got this fence which might come into it. I suspect it won't, because these always look good, quite simple. And I quite like the way that bends one way and then the other, and I think that makes the most interesting picture. Right, I'm all set up. Let me just show you the shot that we've got here. It's going to look really good, I think. Probably definitely a mono shot, although sometimes desaturated colour looks quite good. But let me just show you the shot, and I'll talk you through it. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. Just the houses at the top here, we're going to just sort of crop out. Anything up here is going to be lost. It's all about the shape of this S-bend. Oops, get that working. It's all about the shape of this S and the way it goes back in again, and then we've got another curve the other side of it. So I've got 64 ISO, which is how I usually shoot. F11 gives me an exposure, if you can see there, of a 15th of a second, and a 15th of a second with a 10 stop neutral density filter gives me an exposure of 1 minute. So we're going to do some at 1 minute. I'm going to go then down to f16, which will then allow me to shoot at 2 minutes, check that everything's okay, and then I'm going to go back to the previous one and we'll do a shot from there. Yeah, really like that. Right, so here we go. That's 10 stop neutral density. If you've not seen it before, you can see it goes completely dark, and what that's going to do is it's going to let less light in, which means I'm going to have to increase either the shutter speed or open the aperture to get a correct exposure. And obviously what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make the shutter speed a lot longer to give me that long exposure milkiness, which will look quite nice in this shot. So let's put that on the lens. I'll shoot the picture. Here it comes now. I'm finding this a bit of a compositional conundrum actually as to where to stand. I mean, it looks good from lots of different angles. There is, luckily, I don't think you probably can't quite see if I do that, there's some water coming through these holes, which are the drainage holes in the wall here, which have been quite nice. So I'm in the middle of a 1 minute exposure. I think that might look good. I think what I'm going to do in this case is take lots and lots of different exposures, different compositions, and put them into Lightroom and then decide the best ones for you. But we're dealing with sort of curves, and compositionally that can sometimes cause a problem unless you're pointing to a deliberate landmark or something you want the eye to lead to. In this case, I don't want the eye to lead anywhere apart from along the wall and along the far one. I was trying to make that balance. The eye, your human brain, loves to see symmetry, loves to see things that just flow nicely. So it's kind of make that pleasing to look at, and it's why we kind of quite enjoy this kind of sort of subject really. But I find it really interesting. I think it's a lovely wall. Look, absolutely beautiful. But one more exposure, maybe higher up where I was earlier, and then I will promise I'll do the pier. Right, here we go again. See what you think of this. I think I finally found it. Going back the other way, that composition for me works a lot better, and the reason for it is we're going round like that in an S shape, and that kind of starts, goes out, comes back in, and it's a nicer journey for your eye to take compositionally, I think. So that is going to be the picture. There's waves obviously, as you can see, crashing on the path as well. So another couple of pictures here. I think I'm going to leave the key because I need to get home. So just get this one, put this up, and we're done. So I've really enjoyed this. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the 3 different locations that we've had. Very different. Whitby, Saltwick Bay, which is fantastic, the Admiral, and then these long exposure stuff at Scarborough. What a great trip I've had. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, think about doing so. And I will see you next Sunday. Until then, take care. Ta-da.